watch Survivor, and when the show ends, you really want to talk about it with like-minded friends. It might be hard to find some, but don't you shed a tear. Check out the Purple Rock Podcast, and this is what you'll hear. John will make some dumb jokes, Andy likes to yell and curse, and if they're not available, the backup hosts are so much worse. Spend the whole time being jerks, telling you you're wrong, and so we got this other jerk to sing you our theme song. It's the Purple Rock Survivor Podcast.
Welcome to the Purple Rock Survivor Podcast. I am John, my co-host is Andy, and this week we are talking Survivor 49, Episode 2. The reason we're talking about Episode 2, by the way, Andy, and you're hearing me for the first time, is because there was a little bit of a clusterfuck last week, Andy. What happened? I leave for 1 week, and it all falls apart.
My guess is the universe really didn't want the season to start without you, John.
That could be it.
Or maybe it was me subconsciously sabotaging the whole thing.
Oh, that could be it. Yeah, I could see that just kind of
Make me quit you.
Yeah, having said that, I don't know that the people missed much.
No, they really didn't. Like, again, if it was like and no one's shade to Matt, who gave up his time, and I'm sure he said some good stuff. But like, if it had been an episode where like I had some real takes, then I would have no, we got to reschedule, we got to do something. It would have had to wait several days because I did not have time.
Yeah,
but it was like at the end, I'm like, nothing was lost here.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. That was not any commentary on you or Matt. Actually, it was more that just that first episode was like, well, yeah, that was definitely an introduction to some people.
Yeah.
There was not a whole lot to talk about, and nothing that we couldn't talk about this week, which we're going to do.
But yeah, as soon as it happened, like I X'd out of the program that we use, which like for other like video chat apps, that does it, right? Like if you X out of your conversation with Zoom or Teams, the recording like finishes and sends it to you.
Yep.
Honestly, the one we use, that might also be the way if we used a paid version, right? But we do not. And again, usually you're the one doing the recording, so I just leave, right?
Yep.
So, and I told Matt, all you got to do is leave. What's even funnier is right before I made a joke, it's like, yeah, we got no backup. We're doing it without a parachute. No worries. Nothing could ever possibly go wrong. I didn't say that part, but I might as well have.
Perfect.
And then as soon as I close it out, I'm like, no. And then I was like,
I mean, of the ones you could lose,
Yeah, anything that was like really worth talking about in that episode, we can just go ahead and talk about it again this time.
That's right. If anything, it helps give us some discussion for this week because, not to get ahead of ourselves, but it might have been a little thin this week. So, first of all, let's just dive right in. Did you like this episode?
Yeah, so my initial instinct when it was over was like, much like last week, like, that was okay. But the more I've thought about it since then, no, that was not a good episode.
No, I mean, it was definitely below average for, that's the thing is we get shit for when we don't say like, oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever. But like Survivor sets a bar, right? Like it's a good show. And when it's done really well, it's really good. So when, you get an episode like this, which again, it's pre-merge. I don't need the second episode of the season to blow me away, right? Like it was fine, but against other seasons of Survivor, it was below average.
Yeah, see, for me, it's like the first episode was fine, solid, no, whatever. It was good. Didn't rise the passions, didn't, make me angry. The more I think about this one, I think it was bad. And I think it was bad specifically because of Survivor's production decisions coming home to roost.
Yeah, well, explain for the people.
Yeah, so what I have here in the breakdown, I'll just put it there so that maybe the AI for Spotify can pick this up. But Survivor's deprivation kink really sabotaged this episode. And like it was laid out as plain to see. Like we've always felt it, right? Like you can't just keep starving these people. And yeah, when you like put your thumb on the scale against one team, imagine that they continue to lose, which happened here, just like it's happened so many other seasons. But in this episode specifically, they spell it out. These people can't do anything. This is only the second episode. Like they were sitting there completely befuddled by a puzzle, and maybe they're not good at puzzles, sure. but they couldn't form sentences of tribal council. Like, you got to give these people something. And for the interesting part is, like, for the tribes that haven't been like completely deprived, they've gotten their meager supplies, they've had their flint, they're probably at the right level of deprivation.
Right.
But this other thing, it's just like, it's not entertaining. You're actively sabotaging the entertainment quotient of the show by continuing to do this. And I hope that when Jeff was sitting there and they literally can't like call it out, I'm too much of a brain fog to say anything. Maybe it's like, oh, maybe we've gone too far.
Well, I think, early on when they started doing this, right? Like there was this argument, well, it's a small sample size. You can't just assume that if a group loses the first challenge and they have no supplies that they're going to lose again. Like it's, maybe it's a trend. It's happened like 2 seasons. That's nothing, right? But I think now it's probably gone on long enough that someone could do the work and find out how often this happens, right? The tribe loses the first challenge. How often are they losing multiple of the first challenges? I mean, not me. I'm not going to do that work, but someone could do that work. And
it feels like more often than not.
Right. That's what I'm saying is like it feels like better than average odds that if you've lost that first challenge and you don't have any supplies, you're probably going to lose the next challenge.
And then that's not entertaining because this is the early stages. It'd be nice to kind of get to know the tribes equally, but you can't. The nature of the show is we're going to spend more time with the tribe that loses. Yep. And then we grow to often dislike them because they come off as losers. And maybe they are, but maybe it's just because they are losing due to circumstances out of their control. Like when we're going over here, we'll probably talk about how we don't like a lot of the blue tribe. I'm sure there'd be plenty of people who wouldn't like in those other tribes if they were starving and losing as much as well, right? And look, like I do think some level of deprivation is key to Survivor. It's what makes it Survivor instead of Big Brother. And you and I both watched Australian Survivor over the summer, and there was no deprivation in that.
No.
And I'll say, like, it didn't really like make it less entertaining, but like it made it less respectable, right? Like you could feel it, right? So
yeah,
like there has to be some,
different.
But this is too much. And specifically, it's just too much for that one tribe. If they just given them a fucking machete and flint, then they'd probably have a little bit of food in their stomach, and then they could like make better decisions, maybe compete a bit in challenges. We could at least judge them for their failures as what they are. But now it's just like decided upon them. And maybe it'll happen that like something will fluke out and they'll end up winning one. Like when the tribe that was Banu was on finally won one, and it was supposed to be this big uprising moment, but it's not. It's dumb. And I don't care that like the person who was on that tribe won. Like this isn't even about that. It's just that like 90 minutes last night was just pointless. Challenge pointless. Penalty and challenge pointless. Everything was pointless, especially because the episode itself could not have telegraphed the result of the episode any more clearly or any more early.
Yeah. The thing is, when these episodes are bringing you quality content and devoting airtime to the story of a guy like slightly inconveniencing his tribe, that's when you got a great show going, right? Like just the shoes being moved 15 feet away. Holy shit, man. That is gripping television. So, if that's making the cut, like we're like, okay, we're focusing on this. This is where we're going. Yeah.
They found a way to combine Rupert and Russell.
Right.
God,
I mean,
it's fantastic.
It's this is what we're given. This is again why I'm saying, below average. It was not a great episode of Survivor. But I think you're right in that at some point, this should have clicked, right? We know that Probst loves the like underdog narrative, right? Like, oh, they've been struggling, they got nothing, and their scrappy little underdogs came and took the prize. But again, we've had an entire season. It's been a very long time, but we had an entire season that was devoted to haves versus have-nots, right? And it was consistently shown there, if you keep depriving people, shockingly, they're going to lose almost every time because they are deprived. The other group is not. That's just how it works. Even if they're roughly equivalent physically, once you start starving one group, they're going to perform worse. It's just basic ass shit. And Probst has got to know this, right? This has to be a lesson that has sunk in at some point, that he's been doing this specific type of deprivation for several seasons now. At some point, it's got to sink in, right? I don't think he's a bad host of the show or executive producer. I feel like generally he responds to things and makes changes. Why hasn't this changed yet?
Yeah, not only does he know, I mean, I read, I didn't hear or see the interview itself, but that like he's given interviews when he's like haves versus have-nots doesn't work. He just hasn't clicked that that's what you found a new way of doing it, and it may be because he doesn't really consider the other group like haves, because they're just having basics,
right?
And yeah, and it's like, and this bore out of becoming a much shorter season, right? So it's like, well, how are we going to? And then they're trying to scale. I understand there's been that, and I think maybe like it was just never as bad as it was here. It was bad enough that like in the past, the way it was bad is like that you could fool yourself, especially if you're somebody with like Probst mindset of bootstraps and all that shit. That it's like, oh, they're just not trying hard enough, or they're just not working. But like in this very episode, and maybe it's helpful that it made the edit, but like people are just talking about how they just can't even think right now.
Yep.
And it's like, well, why do we want to see that? Because it's not going to get better next episode for these people.
Well,
so
one way in which their brains were working correctly, and I think you'll agree, is that they did come to the right conclusion about who they should vote out.
Yeah, and that if they had not voted out Annie, it's like that would have been like another strike against like, see, they're so fried that they like booted the easiest decision that there could possibly be.
Right. I mean,
because
there's two people on this tribe that want to be buddies with Jake, right? And Annie debated to them going after Jake. I mean, I guess it's possible that she hasn't caught on to that. I don't know how you could see the things that we've seen and not get in your head that like, oh, it really seems like Jake has a connection with these people, and then just to openly go and talk to them and be like, hey, I'm really thinking we should get this Jake character out of here. Just not the greatest instincts on this Annie.
Well, the problem is that you and I are seeing an edited version of the show, whereas Annie is seeing the show in which she is the star of the show.
That's fair.
She's the main character of Survivor. And God bless her. God bless her for being somebody who otherwise seemed pretty obviously the fifth of five. God bless her for being the archetype who normally would be in most danger at this moment and being like, nah, I'm running shit.
Yes. I mean, when I see two of my Survivor tribe mates hold hands and run into the forest together, I'm thinking, I don't know, man. It seems like those guys are getting along, but that's me. Those are the signals the way I would read them, right? I don't know what was going on there. I mean, I do. I think you're right. It's the self-delusion of 90% of the people that they cast on this show that are convinced that they were cast because they're going to be the star. It was funny, though, that just of all the targets that she could have picked, like Jake, really? I mean, I guess her other option, because she's clearly, got people that she's working with, it was like the loud laughing guy whose name I'm blanking on. Like she could have tried to take him out.
Jeremiah,
there you go. That's this one. Anyway, it's just not even that. She's like, no, we got to take the big shot at Jake, and then backtracks it to, well, no, actually, maybe it's a shot at Sophie because
and I love it. She's like, screw challenges. He's going to be so dangerous. And first off, no, he's not.
Right.
He's not. Unless somehow Survivor decides to copy from Australian Survivor and just do nothing but physical challenges in the individual stage. He'll be fine. He'll win maybe a couple if he's still around. But, I think we've got enough evidence that he's not going to be a big challenge in any kind of puzzle thing.
Right. I mean,
if it's anything that like support your own weight on a pole, he's not like, no, he's not that. So he's like, oh, he's going to win it all. And she's just thinking 10 steps ahead. And it's like, everybody else is like, man, I would really like to have a fire at some point.
I was going to say like, oh, he might do well on a pole challenge. Wasn't he a pole dancer? But I guess the male stripper, no, the male strippers,
they don't really work.
They're not working the pole. No.
Well, I mean,
right. They're not pole dancers.
I suppose on the laws in the country. Not a metal pole.
Yeah, you're not
We will say.
you're not throwing loonies and toonies at them on the stage.
That's
but-
actually only one part of our country, just so we know. And it sounds like, I mean, he probably worked here too, so then he would know.
I was going to say,
like, yeah, the show he was talking about when he was working in Australia, but you know, he's from the province of hurling coin.
That's, we should just do quick diversion here.
No, I don't think we should explain this at all. I want people to be completely either laughing because they know or befuddled and wondering.
Oh, I'm definitely keeping it as an in-joke. But I do want to transition into the fact that, like, he outed himself as the Canadian. Not that he needed to be clear.
So in the podcast that was lost, that was one of the bigger sections. It was just the disappointment that we had no fun to play our game. And also because he was the greatest layup in the history of the game.
Oh, right? Man. Just, you can hear that it didn't take too many words before it came out. And I was like, oh. And then there was a point, and I forget what it was. Did he say a boot? He said something
I think he said sorry.
There you go. It was sorry. And I was like, oh, that's the one.
Yeah. And I'll say, like, when I devised this game back, I think 41, when they finally said they were going to have Canadians, and not like real Canadians, not like Canadians that had American citizenship, because I think there was like the one former hockey player, old dude.
Yep.
Maybe 39. This is what I was hoping for. I wanted somebody out there sounding like they're like from the cast of Letterkenny.
Yeah.
And I just sort of wanted to pick it up. And it's never been that, right? It's never been like an accent that we can pick up. It's been, they seem nice or something
going
like
for
that.
Context clues.
Yeah. And I've screwed it up. Like Genevieve was also like, I had it and then I forgot she existed. I was just like,
yeah.
She was giving French Canadian, but I couldn't pick it up. So then it's like, this was the one. And again, like we both would have gotten it. Like there's no challenge there. And then, so they do that. And he's like, right away, says he's Canadian. And like, here's the thing. He's not just Canadian, folks. You guys, for Americans, you can't distinguish as much the regional other than I assume that you'd realize French Canadian sounds a lot different than other Canadian.
Sure.
That is a very Albertan accent. Very specifically, and I've heard it a lot of my life, and especially because I work in and around the major industry of Alberta. Yeah, he sounds like coworkers.
Yeah.
And there's a question like, why don't I sound like that? Well, a couple of reasons. One, it's a very blue collar, like white accent. Hey, boys, we're going down to the bush.
Curling.
Get out of here with that, huh? And tonight, the last episode, he was like, when they were doing the challenge, he's like, all right, boys. And it's like, oh, get after it. And I grew up in a more multicultural neighborhood. But the big thing is I didn't play hockey. There you go. It is very much the accent of hockey locker rooms.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that happened. Then I'm like, well, you know what? There still might be a second Canadian, right? Mm-hmm. They've cast more than one on seasons before. Yep. So I'm like, game's still intact. And then they gave that one away too.
I mean, what was it? 5 minutes later?
Yeah.
It did not take long.
I was like, still like, I was taking note, like maybe and then forget it.
Yep.
Because there's never going to be 3.
Well, that's the thing is once you got 2, you're like, okay, well, shit. This is all.
Like I haven't even looked. There's now going to be 3.
No, that's the thing is they actually could have 3. We would just assume, that's it. I don't know. They've hit the quota. That's the most.
At this point, I'm assuming somebody would have mentioned it in comments or something, like people who actually research this stuff. But yeah man, it was this is what I've been wanting. I mean, I don't really think I like him at all, but I've just wanted like some stereotypical Canadian shit on here, and we're getting it.
Yep. Yeah, he's just going to be asking.
Other than the shoe thing, right? Which once on one hand, like goes against like the Canadians are polite.
Yeah.
Which I like to feel like I break down that stereotype every other week.
You're just breaking barriers. Yeah.
But the other thing is like shoes. Come on, man. People leaving their shoes at the door is the sacred Canadian thing, right? Like we watch your TV shows. It's like, why the fuck are you wearing shoes inside? I do not understand.
Well, but again, this is a very Canadian.
As a society, we're so used to leaving our shoes just at the front and people not fucking with them.
But this is a very Canadian prank, right? Like where there's nearly no harm whatsoever, right? Like, oh, you just had to step 9 or 10 steps barefoot. Gotcha, bro. Like, it's very like harmless Canadian level prank.
Well,
you know?
here you'd probably have to step in the puddles of everybody's that they leave because the snow was coming off of their boots that you left at the front of the building.
Well, yeah,
which
but
honestly, I do every basketball season anyway.
yeah, but see, he's out on a beach in Fiji, you know? So
That's right.
you're not experiencing this. Anyway, also, I'm glad you brought up the French Canadians. I think, I lose track of time, but I feel like I was in your country since the last season that we recorded. So
sounds right.
Yeah,
summer,
but
right?
the French Canadian portion though. So I did get to hear the French Canadians. They live up to their rep. They're very French Canadian. Yeah. I'll leave that as an inside joke for people that know French Canadians. All right, let's go back to some episode talk because I'm similarly just devastated that our secret Canadian game got ruined. It's, how dare they, really? But let's talk again about the vote because, within that tribe, I just, like you said, it was so telegraphed from the very beginning. I don't see how this vote could have gone any other way. I think Annie was the only one who did see how this vote could have gone any other way.
I mean, we got a hint that Alex was considering it, but that felt like bullshit.
Yeah, that just seemed like one of those confessionals where they're like, okay, but obviously you are voting Annie, but if you weren't, and he's
Does
like,
this idol change anything for you?
Sure, exactly. Yeah, and then just the theory that he would use his idol on Annie, like right away. Come on, man. No. So let's instead talk about something that did actually change a little bit in this episode versus previous seasons. Because as I mentioned, Probst will occasionally make some changes. I shouldn't just all give it to him. It's the production staff. But the production of this show does like to make some tweaks, see if they can improve things. Did you like the changes to the journey reward this time?
I like two things about it. First off, that it felt like a real challenge, not just like reach into a bag or, see if you have a symbol. Like there's been some pretty lame ones. And
Right.
There might yet still be some as the season develops and they have less time. So that was good. And then I liked initially anyway that they were saying that they weren't going to take votes away. Now, later we learned the potential for having votes stolen is there. But even that's a little different. That's like a player stealing your vote. Steal of votes were things that were, but it wasn't you're sacrificing your vote. It's not because you showed up here and you didn't randomly win this thing, you lose your vote.
Yep.
So like even that tweak makes it better.
Yeah, I agree. And that we have said before, just this constant taking away of votes. I mean, I get why they tried it, but this does feel like a nice little like in between place between the, there is still potential for a vote to be taken away, and weirdly taken away across tribes, which is interesting. Just you're stealing someone's vote that's not at a tribal council. But also the game itself, you're right. It was much more of an actual challenge. And weirdly, it was one of those challenges where like normally you'd have a chance to actively target someone, right? Like you could have two of you be like, all right, bro, so the two of us are going to put all the coconuts in this guy's net, right? Right. But, obviously in this case, they didn't seem interested in doing that, which makes sense because they're basically total strangers at this point. And it'd be kind of weird to just be like, hey, bro, you and me going to team up and take out this other stranger? No. So it's just everybody's chucking at whatever basket that's not theirs. And, eventually 2 baskets get filled with coconuts. So, I mean, I liked that it was kind of a more active challenge. It's just that, again, it was kind of just random chucking coconuts because there was no real strategy to it other than don't throw it in your own basket.
Yeah, and then no real indication of like who's really better or who's not, because like we're not seeing every throw. So yeah, every once in a while we see somebody miss one, but yeah, no, like it's still like for us as viewers, it still comes off as random, but like it's active. You're seeing like people do stuff or whatever, so that's better than like completely random stuff,
right? Or just
like they've had like die rolls and shit, man.
Exactly. Or flip over this thing if you're gonna risk your vote or not, and spin this wheel or whatever. Like
reach into a bag and maybe you got it or maybe you don't. Like,
right.
So it's better when it's telegenic And yeah, it's better when like removing votes often just removes like potential from the game. And I'm still good with like, the price for Beware Advantage is potentially sacrificing your vote.
Sure.
Now, at this point, I don't know that anybody's not taking the Beware, but sure. And then, we get scenes like later where they have to hustle around and it's achievable. I'm okay with sacrificing your vote in order to play Shot Dark. I think that's a must. There has to be a cost. Otherwise, just why not do it?
Right.
And then, like I said, even for this one, I'm okay with if it had gone down that way because it's not like removing a vote from a game. It's taking it from one person and giving it to another. So,
right. That said, the reward for winning this challenge was that he could either steal a vote or penalize another team. Did you like that twist? Because I did. I thought that was like that did add some agency into deciding his own reward.
Yeah, choice is great. A couple of reasons. One is just, we get to see it and we get to see how somebody reacts and decision making. For two, it gives us, you and me, John and Andy, something to talk about.
Yes.
Because like there was no choice last week.
No.
The choice was Nicole or Annie. It's like both. Give a fuck. And it turns out.
What order does it matter?
And like one like I got into real quick. It's like, well, Annie's out there talking shit. So they switch it. It's like, no, because it's clearly not working. Everybody knows she's up to it. So next week you can just vote her out.
Right.
Scoreboard. Yeah. So as for the decision itself, I think Jawan made the right one completely. I don't even think there's much of an argument to the personal one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is based on what we've seen, he absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he chose correctly for sure. I mean, his best bet is if he's, looking out for himself as he should, his best bet is sticking around, not by stealing votes, but by avoiding tribal, right? Like, so, we've seen him also looking for an idol. It gives him a little more time to continue looking for an idol since he seems to be actively doing so. So yeah, trying to make sure his team keeps winning challenges is a good idea.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. A reason why a lot of people don't want to go on these journeys correctly, I wouldn't, is because, well, for one, there's often a penalty associated with it, but there's also a social cost associated with it, right? Like even if you come away with something, all of a sudden everybody's like, what'd you get? Again, and then there's always like, you got to come up with some lies, whether they believe you or not. Sometimes they don't believe you when you tell the truth. And then even if you lie, it's like that lie has a time limit generally, because eventually they're going to talk to other people who were there and get more of the details, right?
Yep.
And for this one specifically, like they'll know that Jawan won. Like there's not a mystery of who won that has been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all that, like that the reward itself comes with danger. Often the reward is not worth the trouble, which is this reward specifically. Man, extra votes, who gives a fuck? Like they have use, but they're so circumstantial that it's really not worth paying any kind of social capital. It's not worth giving up the more valuable thing, which is increasing your chances to win the next challenge.
Yep.
So like, I still like it as a choice because it would just show that if somebody chose the other one, they're a moron.
Yes. Well, that's the thing is it gives us some insight into the player and how they think about the game. But I mean, specifically in Jawan's case, like from what we've seen, he seems to be pretty clearly at or near the bottom of his tribe, right? So like,
they're literally deciding whether it's him or somebody else.
Right. And that's the thing is, he does, of course, he does not know that. He thinks he's doing great. But in that scenario, let's just game it out. Even if he did get the steal a vote, he's not stealing the vote of another tribe member. Mm-hmm. So he's still kind of like, he's getting an extra vote essentially. And that's just not going to be enough. If all the votes are coming his way.
From what we know, he'd be down possibly 5-2, at most 4-3 if he gets the other person on the outs on his side, whose name I cannot recall. That does you nothing, right? Like, now here's the thing: if the potential reward was like idle, then yes, grab it.
Yep.
If it's clue to idle, then maybe still grab it. But extra will vote. Fuck out of here with that.
Yeah. So the one scenario, and I'll just throw this out there for the strategy nerds who are like, oh my God, what about this? Yes. Here's the one scenario. You took a vote, right? You could then play your shot in the dark, lose your vote, and then also dictate who goes home, right? Because you'd still have a vote and you could play
only
your
if you shot
shot.
the dark place.
Right. If it hits, again, very low probability play, but it could work. Again, I think your much better odds are just winning the damn challenges, which it turns out they did. The one caveat here is, and I think you'll agree with me, he chose the wrong team to penalize in this one.
Yeah, let's talk that out, because that would be my initial instinct too. When like I hear it, then I immediately go to Amazing Race rules. So I don't think you ever watched that show.
No, not really.
No.
No.
So what they used to have when I used to watch is first what they called a yield. And then later they changed it to like a U-turn or something. So basically the concept was if you reach this point in the race faster than somebody behind you, you could one time in the race, and I think they had like 3 of these, penalize a team behind you with what was originally a yield, which meant they just had to sit there for like some amount of time. Later the show's like, that's boring. So they made them do like an extra task. Right? It's usually right before a place where a detour where you choose one or the other. They'd have to do both. Either way, it's delaying people behind you is what this tactic allows you to do. And the ideal strategy, the optimal strategy for this is always penalize a team that you know is as far back from you as possible.
There we go.
Like the weakest team that's as far back. Now, obviously, live environment, you're not always sure, but sometimes you know, like they got on a later plane than you or something like that. And the reason is because the Amazing Race is actually just a series of mini races, right? All your objective is any given mini race is to not be last.
Yep.
As long as you're not last, you're still in the race. And the race itself, like it's not a cumulative thing because it's always resetting. It's always getting to points where like the next thing you have to do isn't open until the next morning. So everybody just catches up. Now, Survivor, you could think of it the same way, right? Just survive a vote. In which case, that would be the exact strategy here. Penalize blue, who are already starving, already down, and you should win.
Yep.
Right? Is the idea. However, Survivor actually does have cumulative elements as well. And those are the social elements. And thus, maybe there is something to be said about not being so outwardly dickish to that team, right? Now, as it turns out, yellow were still like, fuck you.
Yep.
And you couldn't avoid it anyway. But maybe there's a scenario now in which blue will be decimated there, but then could end up turn around and become the kingmakers. We'll be like, yeah, man, I want to team up with red because they weren't dicks to us that one time.
I mean, sure. It's low probability, I think, on that one too, but it's not nothing. It does create some form of goodwill, I suppose.
Yeah, which matters in Survivor in a way that, despite people who go on Amazing Race and forget about, doesn't matter at all on Amazing Race.
Right.
The Robin Amber season, everybody's like, oh, we're going to get them. It's like, the only way you get them is everybody finishing ahead of them in a race. You can't otherwise do anything to them other than like these yield things, which Rob and Amber tended to reach them first. They used their yield actually incorrectly. They decided to try and penalize the team that was right behind them. That was the challenger. Thinking Survivor, like, this is my main competitor. It's my chance to take them out. No.
Oh.
They stayed in the game. They could have eliminated, actually, the team that ended up beating them all.
I was going to say, how rare of a strategic mistake for Romber. Yeah.
But anyway, so I think I'd still would have just taken the layup win and pushed blue either farther behind.
Same.
But I can see the argument from like, but then I'm just going to look like the worst person and not wanting to do it. And there is social aspects in Survivor to that.
Yeah. Well, I guess ultimately.
And another thing is like, maybe at that little challenge, maybe you got a better vibe from Jason. Or what, is that the Canadian guy's name? Jake.
No, Jake. Yeah. I was like, wait, which one? Because there's 2. And the other one is the guy whose name I keep forgetting. Jeremiah, which you pointed out earlier.
Apparently, like everybody on this cast, like their names start with the same initials.
Damn,
that's a thing. People are
so confusing.
Like
also,
J's.
Speaking of confusing people's names, you talked about Jawan being on the outside. You couldn't even remember who the other person is. not to get ahead of myself, but how dare you? Because the other person is Sage. And on that note, we should talk about the people that we're liking so far this season. Spoiler, for me, that is Sage. That's the list. That's the whole thing. She is an absolute weirdo, and it doesn't at all feel like an act. Like I actually, also, just a quick side note, I thought she might be like enormously tall based on the first episode.
I felt like it. She should hoop.
Right. Like, I don't know why. Maybe it was just the way they were framing.
I also think she was like, it came out of conversations with the other two women on her tribe. Maybe she's taller than these. Maybe these are short women.
Well, and that's probably what it was, honestly, is that she was standing next to these women who were probably like shorter. And, you know, maybe she's slightly tall, but she just looked 6 feet, 6'2". Like, she looked enormous, and it did not seem that way in this episode. Anyway, regardless, I love what she's bringing. I'm convinced she's gone extremely early when they get to vote, which sucks because, you know, there's a lot of people, like I said, she doesn't feel like she's putting on an act. She seems very genuine. I think there are a lot of people on this cast who do feel like they're putting on an act, and that shit annoys me. And there's several on her tribe. So yeah, I have a feeling that group is going to band together and she's going to be gone very soon. And I'll be disappointed when it happens. So what about you? Who do you like?
Well, let's just talk about Sage.
Yeah.
Because she's not part of that list for me.
Just too bad. You're missing out on the Sage experience.
I am out.
No.
As it's Canadian, and as I could say that. Look, no, she's on my other list. I'm not a fan of Sage at all.
You're wrong.
Yeah, and look, I'm going to state why, and that could be the exact reason you're in, and that'd be valid. And I'll agree with you. I think her weirdness is genuine.
Yep.
I just don't care for it.
Sure.
And it's just like, and this is what I actually hope for Sage that happens, is basically her entire character is scatological.
I mean, I'm not going to
what's
complain.
not great about that?
Yeah.
Poop is funny, but it's like, that's all she's gotten so far is talking about peeing, talking about pooping,
It's
and I
great.
think spitting, or no, belching, I think it was.
Oh, so good. Yeah, and just the like, oh my God, I want to go congratulate him, but first I have to pee. All right, man, I feel like you probably could have held it for a few seconds, but all right, you do you. She's great. I'm enjoying.
That's literally all she's given us.
It's so good.
Anytime she talks, it's some kind of bodily function.
I mean, but okay, contrast that with Savannah, who's sitting here giving us her like newscaster voice, which, by the way, my God, the reporter voice is so real. Like, she just slips into that character, and it's like, yep, that is every reporter ever. Man, you really have local news. Like, that is the exact cadence and pitch of every local news reporter.
Yeah, and I'll say I did not care for that. All that said, Savannah is the character that's popped the most for me so far.
Yeah, I mean,
I think she's trying to do stuff, and also she's very attractive.
But I think also the bar's kind of low here. I
don't think people have been popping. But.
No, and that's the thing is we'll get to who we don't like, but I think a lot of it for me is that it's most of the people are just in that meh category. There's no one that I've actively like, oh, I can't stand seeing this person on my TV. Like I said, a lot of them seem like it's just this put on act, which really grates on me. But I don't like hate them. I'm just like, fine.
Well, usually that stuff buffs out, right? As they get worn down by the
you
game.
would hope.
But no, like Savannah, like looks like somebody like, oh, she could be something, and probably the only person for whom that is true at this stage for me.
Yeah, it looks
she's
like
getting like strategic confessionals, and then she's trying to cultivate a character. Take that for what you will. Again, it could be like, I'm not saying she's going to win. It could all come tumbling upon her, but like, it looks like there could be like storylines built around what she's doing, and it feels like she's getting a little bit more time than the other people on her tribe. So yeah, she's made an impression. Positive for me.
and I think someone who calls himself the Riz God, like, I'm immediately going to be biased against that.
Yes,
but I will give him this. Like, I think I had an expectation of who he was going to be. And he is, like, more of a developed human than I thought he would be. All that said, in the first episode saying, I'm going to win this for Albania, that got a laugh at me. Like an actual laugh came out of my mouth at that, as though he believes Albania is sitting around the TV and they're like, finally, do it for us, Riz. this
like,
guy we
first it takes 49 seasons for an Albanian. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. I just
percentage wise, I still feel like you're overrepresented, but okay.
Right. And then also, like, again, does Albania know you? Does anyone in Albania, was Albania informed? Are they invested? I don't feel like they are. So
I imagine Alberta is more invested in what's going on.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah, like when we first saw Rizzo in the preview of this season, and I'm like, I'm out.
Yep.
When he first like did his confessional and kind of the meet the cast type of stuff, out.
Exactly.
But as like that episode went on, as this, I'm like, nah, okay. Here's the struggle, and I believe that a lot of people in comments are going through this. Is he actually annoying, or am I just old?
Well, I think, what maybe softened some of the edge, right, was this episode. He's talking to the guy whose now name is going to slip my mind, even though it was in it just before I said this. But he's talking to the dad, and he's like, look, man, you're almost my dad's age. And like, you hugged me after that challenge. And it was a special moment for me. And it's like, you're just kind of a nice little dork. Like, okay, I guess. I mean, I'm not going to keep rolling my eyes. You're fine. You are who you are.
I'm giving him a chance.
Sure.
He started off suspect, and he could always get there. What helps, like, he's the youngest member of the cast, I believe, but I think he's still like 22 or something like that. Like, they don't have the disgustingly young ones. You mentioned Nate. He's somebody that I like so far, and I think it's purely because, like, we're the same age. And I'm kind of getting frustrated and insulted with the fact. And look, man, I recognize it. I am getting older every year. That's how time works. And I've already accepted, like, I'm in the point of life where, like, no professional athletes other than maybe golfers are older than me. Like, I passed that milestone a while ago. But it's like Survivor, like, has transformed what, like, really old guy has been from, like, it used to be like 60s, like Rudy and that. And now it's guys in their late 40s.
Yeah. It's very funny. The bar is moving down as you're aging. So it's like you're converging.
Like, I think the oldest person on this season is like 51. Like, there's 3 old people, and they're like in the range of like 45 to 51. And it's like, and look, man, you don't need to tell me that I'm old. My body does frequently. But like, that's not like, put them out to the ice flow pasture type old. Meanwhile, Nate gets the edit of like, skippity, what? I don't understand what these kids are. And look, man, I don't believe that kids are saying cinema like he says it is. That one was new to me. I'm like, I totally got it within context of why you would say it, but like everything else is like, I get that. I'm hip to the game. I know 6, 7.
Oh, boy.
So yeah, so I like Nate because, kids these days. Other people that I kind of like, Jason just seemed friendly and nice and good at puzzles. Like, not a big impression, but like before they had betrayed the fact that Jeremiah was the other Canadian, I had Jason on my list as a potential.
That's reasonable. That was a good suspect. Also, quick thing that, did happen in the first episode that we didn't get to talk about. They just let on air Jason out himself as the last minute alternate. We happen to know that it's 2 last minute alternates, because I guess pre-gaming took place and the production crew was like, no, actually, you 2 that we cast, you're out. The 2 alternates are in. I don't know who the other alternate is that made it.
I guess it's not really something you can guess. It was MC.
Okay.
Both on the same tribe.
Yeah, wow. So, I mean, I guess the pre-gamers, they were rightly pre-gaming because they're on the same tribe.
Yeah, for people that don't know, because we have a wide audience, the cast gets there early, like about a week, probably not 7 days, but a little less. They spend time at Ponderosa, and this is when they do like their pregame press and photos and all that stuff. You're not allowed to talk in that time. The show wants all of your interactions, all of your first interactions, to be on camera. That's why it's like, guy in the red shirt, Jeff has met these people for months. And apparently what these people were doing was a lot more than that. Like really talking and pre-gaming. And they were warned, like, hey, knock it off. Because, like, there's probably always, like, everyone's, like, a lot of times you hear, like, nonverbal communications. And you pick up vibes and stuff. And I'm sure every once in a while there's a word and they're like, knock that off. But they kept persisting. And then the night before, they kicked them out.
Yeah. So when Jason said, I just found out yesterday that I'm in this game, he was not kidding.
And that's the other thing I had to make clear for my mom. The alternates come to Fiji.
Yeah.
They are there, and they're also doing this quarantine and all that, but like with the understanding that you're probably not getting on the show. Right. Now, a lot of those people get on to later seasons.
Yep.
Right? So it's not just a complete waste of your time. But yeah, that's how it went down. And actually, a joke I made last week when I talked about this situation is like they have to let them say a few things because, like, if Jake bumped into somebody, he'd have to say sorry. Like that's part of our genetic.
Of course.
Like you can't deny my culture. If I bump into people in Canada, we say we're sorry.
Exactly. Anybody jumping out at
one other person that I kind of like was Blue Sophie. But now, like, she's gonna need to eat something before she becomes interesting again. But I did like in this episode, how she was like, "I don't want to help Alex get the idol," and I'm like, "Yes."
I did think though with that, like, I agree with the sentiment, but at the same time, I was like, I don't know how you expect this is gonna work out for you.
I don't think she'd be able to get the idol herself. But all she has to do is prevent him from getting it till tribal council.
Sure.
In which case he doesn't get it at all, and then it's rehidden, and that's how she could get it.
Right, that's fair.
I should be clear about that, because I think it looked like there was some confusion. The idol didn't expire at tribal council.
Right, the wording on that note.
The opportunity to get it would have expired. But Alex now has an idol that's still good.
Right. The wording on that note was admittedly confusing. Like, the expiration thing, I was like, what? Is it a 1? No, it's not. But it did sound like you could take it that way. Also, I'll second liking Sophie. I don't know that she doesn't reach the sage level for me, but I like that in the first episode, the Jeremiah was like, "You into astrology?" And she's like, "Fuck no."
Yes, that's probably what did it for me.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
I think like the quick pivot, but if you wanted to talk about it,
yeah, sure. But if that's your thing, great. Oh, it's amazing.
I've been there, right? Many times on the show where I'm like, oh, no, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. I don't mean to criticize anything, and then totally go after the thing that they like.
Right, exactly. Okay. Anybody that sticks out at you that you don't like so far?
I have a name at the top of my list, but I feel like if I introduce it, I'll be stealing your thunder.
No, you won't. I got nothing. I mean, there's
really,
yeah. Right. I mean, there's nothing.
You literally messaged me that you want to talk about this. So the instant that Alex goes on screen and is like, "I'm a Washington political consultant," or whatever it is, I was like, "First boot, get the fuck off my screen."
So yeah. Yes, I mean that's the thing is, it's not that I dislike him. I mean it is, I guess, but it's really just the type that he represents is it causes this visceral reaction in me right now. Just the environment that we're currently in, to see someone that is this person. And I believe he talked about, like, he used to work for some old ass congressperson, right? Like, which I don't know. My guess,
I don't even know what side of the aisle he represents.
But it was funny though, because I don't either, but my instant guess was like, oh, I bet it was like Feinstein or someone. It was like someone that was just an absolute corpse, and he's milking it and like, oh, this is all a political game. This is so fun. And I hate it so much. He just seems like the focus group guy, like, yeah. And then, pretending to Annie that he might play his idol on her, and just, ugh.
Oh yeah. Like, so immediate bias. And again, it's not even like what his political goals are. I do not know. I have not looked. I mean, I might have a guess, but that doesn't help. Like, if he's on the same side of the aisle that I would be if I was in your country, I just see him as a person who's like, we really gotta, stop pushing Tim so hard and stop calling these people weirdos and like go after, you know, those Republican votes that could change or whatever. Like, it's fuck you. Like, that's just I hate. This shit is not a game. You know, you'd be the type that'd be out there. It's like, oh, we can't get too bogged down on this immigration stuff and lose focus on that they're going to raise Medicaid. It's like, no, it's all bad. We have time to focus on all these things.
Right.
Again, I don't know if any of this describes him. That's just my visceral reaction to saying that. And then since then, he has come off as kind of a phony. So
that's what I'm saying. That's what it is that he just,
and again, maybe because of our bias and we're already like geared up to feel that way. But I also feel like that's the read.
He just, I don't know. It does strike me as he's that guy who just sees it as like, oh, this is so fun. I'm in the halls of power. I'm playing the game. I'm like, nah, man, why don't you just like care about people in your country instead? That'd be cool. Like, just care about your fellow human beings. I don't know, man. It's a fun, cool thing you could try.
Yeah. And look, man, if he is out there like doing like real shit and all that, let us know. Like, I'm not going to look it up.
Right.
And again, it doesn't even really, it's not even about him specifically. That's like that when you tell me that's your job and you're excited about it. And I'm just like, not the time, man.
It's the vibe. Yeah. That's what it is.
And then Shannon is of a type that I frequently dislike in Survivor. I will say for that type, she seems a little less bothersome. Like she's like, let's bless this, crab, but we're still going to eat it. Yeah. So it's like, it feels harmless, but like nothing at this stage in time and in the world we're in does like natural path, like, that ever feel harmless to me anymore.
Right. So the thing is,
like, I don't know that she's Maha, but it's just like, again, my.
So the thing is when she said like, oh, do you mind if I say a few words about this crab or whatever? I would have been like, have at it. I'm out. And just like walked away. I'm not standing there for you to go through your whole fucking eulogy. Like, I don't have to participate in your stupid shit. Have at it. If you want to do it, go for it. I'm going to be going to get some, water to boil this crab in or something. Like, thanks, but no thanks for your silly ritual. Not in.
Like, that said, like, even Alex and Shannon, they're the ones that, like, I'm on the negative side on. Nobody's like and like Jake is also, with the stupid shoe shit. But nobody's really getting like bother me. Like, that's kind of where we're at.
Right.
Like 2.5 hours of content with commercials is like nobody I really love. Like, Savannah's the top, and it's just like, yeah, she seems promising, and nobody I really like. There's no passion just yet.
Right. Speaking of passion, no, that doesn't transition well.
Yeah. There are definitely people passionate about this subject.
Yeah, but
not them though.
Yeah. Let's do a top 3 for this week, and then we'll get into a little bit of fan mail. So, last week I think it absolutely would have made sense to do a top 3 horror movies, because we started off talking about Act 1 of a horror movie, which, as you know, Andy, how does Act 1 go? I mean, because I'm pretty sure
battle for survival. It is not the battle for survival at all. It's, hey, everything's great. This campground is fantastic. Let's get drunk and have sex. And that's obviously slasher, but the other ones is like, hey, we're gonna live forever, but like, hey, something's a little weird. But you know what? You're weird for thinking it's weird. It's setting the tone, getting to know the potential victims. Maybe, if it's a higher concept horror, it's pitch like the concept. Oh, what's this videotape and shit like that. But it is absolutely not the battle for survival. It's that they don't know that this is about to become a battle for survival, which in many ways would have made his analogy better, right?
Right.
That is the stage of the game we're at. It's not like it's the get to know you and that there is a sense of danger, but not for all of us.
Right. I mean, Act 1 is
and maybe like there is a murder, like there is going to be a vote out, but nobody knows that this is going to be like a serial thing. It's like, oh, no, that's really sad that somebody died. And that, they show us, the audience, Drew Barrymore getting stabbed up or whatever. So we get the sense of dread, but the characters within do not.
No, they're all standing around in a circle and they're holding hands and they're singing, I Like Being Alive, as you do in Act 1.
Act 2.
Act 2, however. Uh-oh.
That's when we got to split up.
So let's talk.
They've killed off a minority. In that case is what
that
stage of Survivor is often like.
I'm just saying, sometimes it's more than one. All right, let's talk our top 3 horror movies. which is honestly an ideal topic for me because number one, as you know,
movies,
huge movie buff over here. And then when you specifically just add the genre in, I don't watch movies as it is, and then you're just gonna throw horror in too, so you can just like niche it a little bit further. Great, this is the category built for me.
Yeah. And like we did it this week because the title was cinema. Last week they did the horror thing, even though that wasn't our top 3, that was lost. And then also like it's spooky season. We're in October now.
Sure.
So there's that. And I'll get this out of the way. Also, I'm not a big horror movie fan. Like just the feeling of dread and terror is just not a thing that I pursue in my like social time,
right.
recreational time. But I definitely have obviously watched some. So this isn't going to be, neither of these are going to be the best list if you're really into it, but maybe useful if you're like us and only like I'll watch good stuff.
Sure.
And the other thing is I did work to like, there's things you can stretch. And I don't know, maybe you did this. Like, yeah, that's kind of a horror movie. I picked 3 movies that I think are pretty definitively horror movies. My number 1, maybe there'd be pushback, but they're wrong. Like it's very clearly a horror movie.
Okay.
But it's not like, like, oh, Jaws is a horror movie. It's like, not really. Like it has horror elements, but it's a blockbuster, action type or movie. So I avoided that. I think my 3 choices are all like genuine horror movies, but
well,
there we go.
I mean, when I was making my list, I did want to get cutesy, right? But instead, like I realized I'll start with just an honorable mention because I haven't really seen the movie. I wasn't even positive that it's horror, but that one where the lady fucks a fish man, is that a horror movie? I feel like it's not.
No.
Oh, okay.
It's romantic.
Oh, of course. I mean, obviously there's a romantic element because she's fucking the fish man. Drama. But, I didn't know if there was any horror involved. Body horror, maybe?
So I mean, kind of, sure.
Sure.
But like, it's like, there's love between them. I mean, this isn't like just, oh man, I got to fuck that fish guy. It's like, I want to express my true deep desire and like, to like 2 souls become one.
Oh, it's like a Brokeback Fish Mountain. Something like that.
Well, I mean, they're not the same species.
That's true. Okay. Well, I don't know.
Like a key element of Brokeback is that the 2 participants. Oh, I mean, of course, they're both the same species. That's most films about humans.
Generally how it goes. Yeah,
they are also the same sex.
That's true. All right. I'm going to give you my number 3 because again, I did actually try to do this because I thought I was like, man, do I even have 3? Yeah, I did. So my number 3.
Why it's top 3, not top 5?
Yeah, thankfully. If it had been top 5, I might have been out. So my number 3 is Final Destination. Just Rube Goldberg-ass plot contraptions to get these people killed. It's like, fine. That's a fun concept. I don't know, the execution was so great, but sure, it's a fun concept.
All right, for my number 3, kind of along the lines of horror movies for people who don't like horror movies, I'm going to go with Get Out. It's not as scary, but like it definitely is a horror movie. It goes into those places.
Yep.
And you know what? I'd vote for it a 3rd time if I could.
Well, you kind of are because that's my number 2.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you already took mine there. That's again where I struggled is because I don't have a lot of horror movies, so that was my number 2.
But it's like the cliche choice of like I don't like horror movies, but I like Get Out.
Yeah.
I mean. Kind of for me. So there you go. For my number 2, I'm going with 28 Days Later.
That's the Rob Zombie thing, right?
Like it's not Rob Zombie. He did like a remake of one of the Dead movies.
Oh, okay.
But it is a zombie. Well, zombie-esque.
I know it's zombie.
True zombie fans would say that they're infected, not zombies, which is fair. It's
Let's
not the
get
living
pedantic.
dead.
Yeah.
But it is it's a telling. It's a modern telling of zombie type storytelling.
Sure.
Which is always kind of exciting because it's like man versus nature, but disguised as man versus man. But of course, spoiler alert: the true monster is man.
Oh. So my number 1 actually is man versus nature, and the true monster is nature. Grizzly Man is my number 1. Because Chekhov's bear is introduced in Act 1, and it does not disappoint.
No.
Definitely.
No false advertising.
Nope. It was definitely not a bait and switch. that bear is there for a reason.
All right. And my number one, I'm going with Alien.
Ooh, good choice.
Which, again, some people will be like, oh, that's more. No, it's definitely a horror movie. It has every aspect of a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like the monster. I'd say Aliens, the follow-up, is a war movie, not a horror movie. But Alien is definitely a horror movie. If people are watching, they're like really liked the recent TV series, I'm still catching up. So like spoiler tag that shit.
Okay.
But it's also good. But yeah. And here's the thing, like, I don't like. I've seen more horror movies, but usually just once. Like I've been like, so I was like, oh yeah, Halloween was good, I guess. But like Alien and 28 Days Later, I've watched multiple times.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that I watched any of those more than once.
I mean, I don't know how many movies you've seen.
That's true. I mean,
an edited cut of Frozen, probably.
That for like 45, 50 times. Sure. Yeah. All right, let's get to some fan mail because we had some that hit this off season. And I just wanted to hit them because one of them particularly touches on something that I did want to discuss with you. And so I'll read it. The fan mail actually says, it leads with, are you guys watching Australian Survivor right now? It's excellent and everything we haven't gotten from US Survivor. Would love to hear your thoughts. Well, random person. Two things. Number one, you and Emma did do an Australian Survivor podcast to recap it because it was Australia versus the world. And quick note here, we're going to briefly discuss this. We will be spoiling some shit. So if you wanted to watch it and you haven't, or you are watching it and haven't finished, you can be done now because we're just going to talk about this. This is the last
thing we're going to talk about.
Yeah. I actually didn't do the Australia versus the world podcast with you. I forget why I was traveling or some
sick,
shit.
I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Last week you were traveling. That week you were sick.
Look, man, I can't be expected to remember.
This week I'm sick and I'm still gaming it out, but that's fine. Some of us are about that life.
I like that you remember what's going on in my life better than I do, which is a low bar. So anyway, here's my quick thoughts because yours have already been recorded in long form.
I'll do a short version when you're done.
Yeah, sure. Thought number one, USA. I think Tony was just always doomed because Suri and Parv were just such a natural pairing. Like Tony was always going to be a third wheel. Still absolutely killer casting. Like if you said, hey, Australia's got to pick like the 3 top American Survivor players, I don't know that it would necessarily be those 3, but they would certainly be in the conversation, right? Like no one's going to be like, well, I don't know if
they'd be like your 5 choice.
That's what I'm saying. Like maybe you argue if they're like, but they're top 5 at the very least. So, killer casting, and which is why I watched. Because, if you'd gotten some mid-tier, like still above average Survivor players, I'd have been like, I don't fucking care enough, Yeah,
I said this in the podcast. Not only like did it have to be like these top dogs, but it had to be multiples of them.
Yeah.
Like Sandra has been on this show prior. I didn't watch that shit.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to watch for one. Even if they just had Tony, I'd have been like, I would want to see him, but no thanks.
I'd have to hear that he won before.
But yeah, then I'd go back to watch. Yeah, exactly. I'd be fine with being spoiled on that. So more importantly, Parv just kills it. Parv and Suri, awesome teammates again, and just kicked ass and just wiped the fucking floor with those Australians. And
the take that I did in the podcast that I'm sure you never listened to was like, they turned them into like the Rob Zombies from Redemption Island. Like this was the fans versus favorites. They were the fans of Micronesia.
Oh yeah.
And this is supposed to be your gods. These are supposed to be the best you've ever had to offer from the rest of the world. And you guys like literally just fell over yourselves to gift the victory to Parvati.
It was amazing. Big fan. But my comment too, if I had been in that podcast, was something you addressed earlier in this podcast, which is that the challenge is nothing but fucking physical. Like, yep. I mean, again, it worked out because Parv still fucking dominated some of them, which is amazing. But also not just physical. Like they are very into that like endurance pain type challenge, which it
plays right into Parvati's hands.
Yeah, she's the queen of that shit. But like, if you're gonna do one of those, you maybe have one in American Survivor, per season.
Maybe 2. Yeah.
Right.
Early,
but like
when there's a big group, and then later when you're thinning it out.
Yeah, but mix that shit up, man. Like, do something else. Not a single puzzle in sight. Like, I will admit that I get bored of seeing the same fucking puzzle every time on Survivor, but at least they're doing other stuff.
Yeah, it's challenging different parts.
Yeah.
Some people are good at some things, some people are good at other things.
And one more thing, and then you can have your Survivor AU thoughts, but like, the thing that actively made me laugh was they did an auction. These people have been eating just fine for that. I mean, they're only out there for like 2 weeks, right? And it's like 6 days in, and they're like, all right, let's have an auction, y'all, and you can buy some food. Like, I'm full, actually. Thanks.
Did you see when there's that one scene and like George is like heaping spoonfuls of rice? I feel like he's like letting some of it drop to the floor.
Oh my God.
Eating while talking.
And not only that, but like then the portion, they give him an entire fucking cake at the auction. And it's like one human could not eat that cake. It
had Fred Flintstone's helping of ribs.
and even funnier because it's like, I mean, I just ate yesterday. If I hadn't eaten in 3 or 4 days, maybe I'm like, oh man, I could eat so much food. But come on, man. You just fed them 24, 48 hours ago. They're probably fine. But it was very funny. I did enjoy that part. All right, let's hear your thoughts.
No, this is great because, we did one podcast episode covering the entire season, of which like the first half an hour is just me and Emma bitching like it's just not worth the effort. It's so hard. So fine, whatever. But we didn't really get into specifics other than, comparing it to regular Survivor with the caveat that, this wasn't even a regular version of Australian Survivor.
No.
And then, yes, Poverty Queen. It was so fun to watch her. And then, the one specific thing that I made sure that was on the breakdown to talk about was that auction.
They're so good.
And I think, people were probably like, this you choose to talk about? You're recapping it for, 3 minutes, and yet you also had to call all those things out. I agree.
So for the people who don't know this, so we have this group chat that we're all in, for, and so we get to it at different times watching the episodes, right? And so I believe I might have been the first one to make a comment on this episode, and I made the comment thread for that episode just to be like, what the fuck, an auction? It's like, it didn't make sense. I mean, it just genuinely, and they gave them so much food. There might be an auction this season of Survivor. We won't even talk about it, even though we're just talking about that episode. But for this one, we had to talk about. Oh my God!
The portion sizes were insane.
It was.
Again, we're talking 6 days into their journey, and here's the my teenager was in the room while we were watching, but not paying attention. He's fucking around on Roblox or whatever, and even he's like, how are they screwing this up? And he's only watched a few seasons of Survivor, because that's another part that Emily and I didn't get to, was that the betting strategies were terrible.
Amazing. Right? So good.
I did mention this, that legitimately the best thing that was won in that whole auction was the $40 sandwich.
Absolutely.
Price-wise. That was probably the best food value because of the mixture of different food types and all that, and that it wasn't a comically huge portion of it.
Right.
And the people would bid up to $20, $40 or $20 less than their max, and then bow out. And unless you're pulling a strategy of just try, you do this in fantasy football auctions, or just trying to run up somebody else's bid.
Right.
It's a dangerous thing to do, but it's what's that $40 going to do for you?
Exactly.
You were pot committed now.
And a very fun part too is that immediately, so there's 8 people left at that point, right? Immediately, or maybe 9, whatever. 3 of them get eliminated right away. 2 of them bid for the same object. One of them, when you get it, you get to send someone away. So now 2 people are entirely out of money. A third is sent away. And now that you got nobody left in the auction. It is amazing.
And yet 2 of them got nothing.
So good.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm glad we're again, I dedicated probably 15 minutes to that podcast on it. And we're doing more. That's how fucked up that was.
It was the stupidest auction I've ever seen.
Last thought on what the prompt, the fan mailer is it's doing things American Survivor. No, it wasn't, man. This was not better than American Survivor. This was, the host is boring.
Oh,
Or at
man.
least he's nothing. He's nothing. He's a non-entity. He's no longer the host. And there's nothing about this show that's like, oh, I get it now. This is the good shit. No, man. It felt Survivor-esque in some ways. In other ways, it felt cheap. Like, in a way, like, just the money isn't there.
Yeah.
A lot of, like, audio things. But, like, it was just as gimmicky, in some cases worse in gimmicky, and, like, the things that they were throwing at them. So, like, I've always, and again, this isn't real Australian Survivor.
No.
That one's like 5 times as long. No, thank you. But like, I've always had the idea that like people were like, no, this is the better stuff. And like maybe some of their seasons rank just as well as some of the upper season Survivor. I don't know. But it was just snobbery. It's like, you peons only watch this kind of Survivor, but I go to dodgy websites and watch this other kind like 3 times a week for like an entire summer. And I was like, no, it's not better. It was fun. It was fun to watch Parvati just clown these fools, but it's not better.
No, and the host thing in particular, I don't even know like what separates this man from Probst. He's just doing a Probst impression, and like I want the real thing. Probst is old and cheesy as fuck. Good. He's fucking good at that. Like he should keep doing that. I got nothing from that.
I would swear there were tribal councils with Jonathan didn't speak.
Oh, I mean, which was fine because he's doing a terrible Probst impression.
Yeah. So anyway, those are our Australian Survivor versus. Like it was fun,
Yeah.
and the final take that both Em and I had, and I want yours is, do you see yourself watching Australian Survivor again?
No, I'm out.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. I mean, again, I get to, I'm grading on a curve because I know this is not the typical Australian Survivor, right? Like it was a gimmicky season, fine, all the caveats, but no, I'm out.
We were already out before. We weren't watching, so this would have had to been like, yeah, holy shit, what have we been missing?
Right. And
it
I wasn't there. No.
Yep.
All right. And so kind of related fan mail. We got, I don't even have where this person texted from. Oh, well. So the comment is, this pod is like listening to an hour of Cliff Clavin rambling minus Cliff's charm. Good Lord. I want to point out, in case anyone was curious, this was absolutely sent in response to you and Emma talking about Survivor versus
It was sent the same week, so that's a good bet. Obviously, people do listen to older content. Then the one thing I'd say is like Cliff Clavin's usually like a blowhard who like acts like he knows all the details, and that was absolutely not me during that particular podcast because like I don't watch the show. I don't really know. I don't know who most of these people are. But I did like go on like, at least half an hour just talking about how like I don't want to stream shows on my TV. I want them on my actual TV.
Well,
I don't like I stream them. I don't want to like I don't want to watch things like on my computer and stuff. So.
But see, I feel like that should have landed with this person because I can tell that this was specifically texted to us by an older person because the Cliff Clavin
reference to Cheers.
That's what I'm saying. That is not a reference the youths are making. This was some like 50-year-old guy that heard you guys and was like, I'm so mad I wasted my time. I'm going to burn them in the only way an old man can. And he just like texts you like, oh, send him an angry text. That'll show him. Also, how did he get an hour in? Why does he hate himself that much? He's listened to a full hour and just fucking hating it. Like, if you didn't like the first 20 minutes, I don't know if you know this, there's a stop button. You could just be like, I'm done. This isn't for me. Why didn't he bail?
No, man, I baffles me when people listen to our show at all. But when you listen to it, you're not even enjoying it. Like this is a completely optional experience.
Just go out and do other things.
Every once in a while, I'll look for other podcasts, and I'll even listen to some amateur ones if it's like just a subject that I kind of wanted to hear more conversation about. And then if I don't like it, I stop listening. That's how it goes.
Right. We're not compelling you to listen to this shit. Like you can move right on. We're not making money. We're losing money if anything. So, or at least I am. So, yeah.
Any more fan mail?
Nah, that's it. Let's wrap it up. We've been going for too long anyway. All right. Quick hits.
You want to make sure that you hit record.
Oh, yeah? Is that how you...
or save. I think we hit record to start.
Yeah, that is how it goes.
Just make sure you download it.
Definitely going to take lessons from you on this. All right, so purplerockpodcast.com is the website. If you are doing our fantasy league, you'll see standings go up for that. Probably it's going to be every Monday. I don't like to get too ambitious and try to do it on a Thursday. So you can join our fantasy league. You can comment on all the episodes. And then, of course, you can always text us, and maybe we'll respond to your comment. We can't respond to it when you text us, but if you look at that little link on whatever podcast app you happen to be listening on, there should be a little text link in there, and you can text us just like those two people did. And you can send us hate mail. I mean, I fucking love it. I will probably laugh. Just make sure it's clever, Don't just be like, you guys suck. That's boring. Just
That's right.
Bring the heat.
Make references to shows from the 80s.
Right. Do something for us. So
I got to say, I feel like I come off more like a pompous Fraser Crane than a Cliff Clavin, but to each their own.
I don't know. I don't feel like you start with an I'm listening. That's not your vibe. All right. Anything else, Andy?
Hit the music. And hit download.
There we go.
For God's sake.
This is the copyright-free outro to the Purple Rock Survivor podcast.